Hi everyone, let's talk about the Nancy Guthrie case. Firstly, the two videos I put up, you can check them. There's multiple things I want to discuss and I hope I don't forget them. I very much indicated in my readings that there is a strategy of this in multiple ways, okay? And each person has a strategy, whether this is law enforcement, whether it's the FBI, whether it's on the individual level, people wanting to be heroic. And I mentioned they know who has done this and where Nancy is. And this is now just getting prolonged because there's also a distraction theory. But the distraction theory does not mean that Nancy was taken because of the distraction reason, if you understand what I mean. I think it was day before yesterday I heard that either the sheriff or FBI had said this could take years. And that was a strategy for the perps, if they're listening, to try and relax. The other thing that came as I was thinking about the four major arcanas that we got within the reading for the directions of like south, if I recall, was the Emperor. Then I did north, and then I did west or east. And if I'm not mistaken, there was the high priestess, the temperance, and maybe the lovers. And I was going to record this while I was walking, and it was channeling and coming through to me. But at that time, also, I got a whiff of a bad smell, so like garbage or something. And I decided to just put when does a body start to smell, and it's between 24 to 48 hours. It can last 52 days. And I put in fairly cold temperatures. I don't mean like icy, but that tends to preserve the body as opposed to heat in summer. So I'm not sure if there's a clue there around garbage or in terms of, there's starting to be a smell in the location. And I'm not saying that she's not alive, because even if somebody is, alive and unconscious or not able to move, there could be a certain odor. I don't want to say anything more. I might do further videos once this ends. So that's something. Going back to the four major arcanas, I was thinking, I asked where is the body, and we got four major arcanas in a row, which was very strong. So that it was like, this is firstly going to play out in divine timing. But we have all the resources to find her, or the FBI and the sheriff, and even the social media. And in each direction, there could be something that comes up. And there was someone who was picked up in the south. And I believe they were looking towards the Mexico area. And there might be something left in the north, something in the east, and where she is as well. With that also, it was given an indication to the elements and where each person is, whether it's Nancy or the perp, where something is hidden and undisclosed, and where there's a choice point at one of the directions where there was maybe the lovers. I'm just giving examples of what I recall. And something that came through to me strongly was the universe may have divine timing, but the universe has given all the resource and the universe is helping this case. But are we? And I felt that that was very strong, and it was very much in line with the videos we've done and the community page where we've had this discussion. I thank member Anne, and I thank obviously Marcia, and I thank Mimi, who's supported the channel incredibly. So we've had some chats going back and forth, and it seemed like the universe was saying, not everyone is actually aligning, and not everyone is actually looking. Everyone's focused in different directions and working against it as opposed to with it for a strategy. And I hope that kind of made it clear. And that's really what I wanted to share. I also want to raise that in February, by the way, I did say not only about a woman's going viral, etc., but there's going to be a lot of hunger over rumors and doing things to gain attraction. And I sit and think, I'm like, how many people out of everyone that's covering this is actually looking for Nancy? You know, including the FBI, etc. So with the universe supporting us, but are we working with the universe? That was very strong and very strong confirmation. Now, justice will be served in this case, okay? So we don't have to fear that. I did mention by the end of the 17th, Tuesday, the end USA time, there needs to be a closing of this case because it runs into very critical areas even behind the scenes. And with that, what I meant was they already know, and they know where Nancy is, and they're delaying for a distraction. But also, I put in the comments that I felt there was an intelligence agency or intelligence that are not going to be malefic, but it's kind of a way that they're going to maybe store something, hold something, and possibly then tap in their after hours because they're so into this case, into maybe also because they've got their eyes on the perp and they're tracking the perp or perps. As part of all this distraction where I said from the beginning they're ahead, but we see it play out at a slower pace. There's going to be a lot more risk of faking stuff. AI is going to be involved. This intelligence who's looking behind the scenes, tracking and feeling like, you know, when you've got a screen and you've got like, let's say a red line to the perp, you've got blue line to the law enforcement that you're working with, and you're just seeing all these matrix lines, and he's having a good time doing that. And I think I also saw like there's something just recently in the past day between the sheriff and the FBI in competition or something. And possibly that could be we don't understand the whole story, but I see competition ramping up. And this could also include, which Mimi actually indicated, and I feel that energy coming through, that a cop could withhold something. And that could either be because, again, heroic. Everyone wants the bite of this as opposed working together. And that's where also the hunger of the rumors, the fakery, even social media platforms. I mean, I don't want to say this channel I landed on today, and I was just looking at the comments. And I'm the type of person that I might comment if I feel someone is being attacked. Over the past 2 weeks, I've commented on a Crime True podcast channel where the person was presenting as facts, and I said, you need to say this is assumptions because I don't think this is facts. And then the other day I said, you know, you said this, you insulted people from this. Nothing you have stated has come true. And they've changed the wording. There was like, this is my presumption. And I said, you can say, for example, what if, and do your analysis, but don't present as facts. And I kept going back to their videos because they're rather rude when they get a comment that they don't like. And I thought, if they're going to comment back to me something rude, I need to check their videos. So I did, and they've not said anything, but they've changed their tone. So I think the message has reached them because people love to buy into without thinking. So anyway, going back to this channel that's covering this, covering the location, covering saying who the perp is without saying a secondary or third perp, targeting a certain person. And I'm not saying this person's not involved. I haven't seen all it, but it was kind of like I'm doing the work on this, and you guys need to listen. It was as if they were a detective and that they were 100% right with every single thing they were saying. Although they changed where they said the location was. They said Nancy was at home for a good period of time, and then they've changed it recently. Anyway, going into the comments, there was someone who said, either said, can you speak louder, can you speak slower or faster, or can you do this? Something, right? And the response was, you can go to the speed, or you can go to captions, or you can raise your volume, the answer. But it was a bit, I can understand they're being frustrated. And below that, the lady responds and she says, it's a lady, she says, I am X age, and this lady is between 75 and 90. And she's like, I am trying to listen in to understand, and you don't need to be rude to me. Your people helped me with what to do. And if I got that message, I'd be like, this lady is frightened, possibly frightened. Imagine how many people are frightened of this, and they will not understand that there's also a strategy behind on this. And what an honor to have someone that age tuning into your channel when your channel's not, for example, a news reporter or something that's very tangible. And the channel owner has every right to respond how they are. And secondly, I'm very much of respecting your elders. So the lady said, so please, there's no need to be rude to me. And the channel owner said, I'm not being rude, but I explained in the beginning of the video or something like this. And I can understand their frustration, but a lot of people are frightened because they don't understand also the dynamics behind this. And I still don't understand why Nancy was in that massive home alone if she was really that vulnerable of how it's all being said. I put a post up yesterday or day before and I said, this doesn't make sense about the DNA glove is the match of the masked man. You can say the DNA glove possibly matches a perp or a person of interest. It could be the masked man. And I said, something's not right on this. Do you see it, etc.? And I knew it was a bit of a fabrication going on. Anyway, I've just seen that apparently the DNA glove has no match. Maybe they want to continue searching. But either way, the way they're putting information out is not solid. And I can see issues in it. So social media, with the other risks I mentioned, is going to get hungry. It's going to get cocky. Some people might get cocky. There might also be some people, social media, that might get bullied. Sometimes if a channel is doing well as well, they might start to get bullied, or bullying the channel owner to talk about a certain aspect. Okay. They are tracking the perps. There is money, revenge, entitlement. Could be a hint of jealousy involved in this. Which makes me think possibly not every ransom was bogus. But I also want you to think, like, if someone has, why was the 16 gloves? Is that some of the FBI police dropped their gloves? Is some gloves been put as a distraction and they're feeding into it? There is a distraction for the EP files, but it's not because of the EP interviewing of the victims. Although, when something kicks off with a reason, you can get other people that become involved. The kidnapper had a strategy, and I believe it went a bit wrong. And today, there is also an energy that's working against the perps in some way. There's something about the press as well. So I would say in the US, it's going to be very early hours. In the UK, okay, on the Wednesday, there should be something coming through. I did write, I think, blue and elevation and some keywords in the first reading I did. I'm not sure if we got something about socks, but I do want to cover socks and shoes in the Lily and Jack case. So that's really what I wanted to say about this, and I thought that was a very strong message from the universe that confirms what we've shared in the videos in terms of the distraction and the strategies at multiple levels about this. And the reason of this being done, but I do believe justice will be served and I believe this lady will be found. The problem is that because of all this and knowing there's a strategy, it's very hard to find empathy for this lady and compassion, and I think people are losing that. But there's the areas of risks if this doesn't get more or less closed by the end of the 17th, Tuesday. Okay, the next big energy day I think will be Friday into Saturday, but then it's getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you caught the predictions. Also, look out for the other videos, and I am incredibly grateful to those of you that like, that hype, that share, leave a comment, and if you wanted to support the channel, donate or buy me a coffee, you can become a member. You can also do it directly via the PayPal, because then it goes 100% to me if you, for example, decide to buy me a coffee. Take care, stay blessed, and let's see what happens. Bye for now.